Now that you have the parts of the automata created, we're going to go ahead and do the assembly for the box as well as the cams and the followers. So in Inventor, I'm going to go ahead and do a new assembly file. So we'll open that up, and we're going to place in all of the parts that belong in the assembly. So I'm going to use the control button, and I'm going to hold down control, and I'm just going to click on every single part here that I want to include into the assembly. Okay, we'll open those up, and we're going to zoom out here and load those into the project. Alright, so here I have all my parts. We'll have to make a few edits and stuff like that on these real fast. I can double click on that. We're going to turn that off. Turn. So anyway, I'm just kind of getting rid of some of these work planes that are showing up. I don't really want to see those right now. For the parts. Okay, so I'll kind of deal with the rest of those a little bit later, but I'm going to move some parts around here so I can see what's going on. And I know that I need more than one of some of these parts. I need duplicates, but we'll deal with those as we work along here. So, okay, so first thing I know is I need two sides. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to copy that part, and then I'm going to right click and paste a copy of that part right there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and we will constrain the bottom of the box to, say, the bottom of this part here. Apply. We're going to go ahead and put flush constraints. So we use the flush tool. We'll do flush this edge with this edge. Apply. We'll have to flip this around here so that we can kind of flush these two together. Apply. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with the other side and the top of the box. So you'll have to forgive me, I'm not using a mouse right now, so it makes it very difficult to try and flip this thing around and manipulate it too much. Okay. Apply. There we go, make that a mate. And then we'll do the flush on the back, and we'll do the flush on the side. Okay. For the top, same thing. We'll choose the bottom of that. Two. Okay. Alright, so we have the basic box put together, and now what we need to do is we need to put the bushings into the hole. So I'm going to need a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bushings. Right now I only have one place, so we're just going to right click, copy that, and then I'll use Control V, or you can right click and paste as many as you want in there. So I need 6 of those. That's 4, 5, 6. And we're going to use the insert tool to put those where we want them. So we'll do constrain, go over here to insert, and I'm going to say that I want this top edge, so we'll click that top edge, to be flush and inserted into this hole, but I want the top of surface to be flush with this surface here. Now it is flush with that surface, only the problem is it's sticking out rather than going in, but we can flip it just using these two here. So I'll just flip it. You'll notice that it stays flush, but it just went the other direction. And then that setting should stay consistent for the rest of them. So I'll choose this surface to that surface, apply, this one to this one, that one to that one. And then I'll do the same thing, but this time I need it flush to not this surface, but we're going to choose the other surface on the outside. So it should be flush with the outside edge over here. So we'll say there to there. Apply. Alright. We're going to do the same thing now with the shaft. One of the reasons that we're using the insert tool is because of that flush. It applies technically a flush constraint, and it also puts it in the hole, so it can still rotate in there, and which is good because that's what we want with the shaft. We want the shaft to be able to rotate inside the bearing or the bushing here, so the insert constraint works out pretty well. So I'll choose this end here, and I want that to be flush with this end here. Looks like it's going the wrong way, so we'll flip that. Now it's flush, going through the correct way. We'll apply that, and that shaft is then free to move or to rotate, but it's not going to move left or right. So that's good. Alright, so let me zoom out here and get our follower. We'll put the follower in next. Move some of these parts a little closer. Okay, so I'm going to need a total of 4 followers. So we're going to copy that, and we'll use Control V or paste to place 3 more in. And but I'm not going to use the insert tool. So this follower has to go into the bushing, but it needs to be able to move up and down, but it has to be able to track inside of that bushing. So an insert constraint isn't going to help us out too much here. So we're going to use actually the mate constraint. But this time what I want to do is I want to mate the axis. So we're going to find that long axis along the follower, and we're going to mate that with, so we'll zoom in here, kind of tilt this down a little bit. It's tempting to choose that green dot. We don't want to do that, but I want to choose the axis for the bushing. Okay, and so when I go ahead and apply that now, you'll notice that the follower not only can spin, but it can move up and down in the bushing. It can slide, which is what we want. Now, sometimes, depending on how it got placed into the assembly, yours might be upside down. So like mine has the rounded bottom down here that's facing down, and that is the correct way for it to go in there. But if for some reason it went in backwards, you can simply highlight it, click free rotate, flip it over. Alright, so now it's facing this way. Just click out of there and then move it. And now you'll see that it's facing the right way, but the constraint still applies. So I'm going to move that back, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other ones. So that's in good shape there. We'll do mate constraint, this guy in here. Apply that. Apply that. Okay, so all the followers are placed. Now we're going to choose to place the cams. So on this one, the insert one works well. So let's kind of take a look at this. I'm going to use, one of the things that we're going to have to pay attention to on this one is I need the cams inserted onto the shaft, but I need one cam directly under this follower, and I need another one under this follower. So not only do we have to insert it on the shaft, but we have to offset it to the correct position. So to do that, we're going to choose, let's say this guy here, I'm going to do an insert, and I want this edge to be flush with, we'll just choose this edge right here, the very edge of the wood. Okay, and so then if I look at it from this view, you'll notice that that is not lined up with this here. So we're going to place an offset on that before I hit apply. I'm going to go 1.25, and you'll see that it offsets it from the wall 1.25 inches, which it is now aligned with that. Now yours might not be 1.25 inches, but whatever it takes to get it lined up with that will work. Okay, so I'll go ahead and apply that, and then we're going to do the same thing with the other 3. And you can apply the offset from anywhere. So I'm going to do an insert with this guy. We'll put it maybe up against here, and then when we look at it from the right view here, you'll see that's definitely not centered. We'll put in an offset of 1.25 again. Oh, that's not quite enough. It's not in the center there. So we might want to put this one at 1.5. Yep, that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and keep that. Alright, next thing we want to do is add these other 2 in here. So we'll do constraint, insert, choose that. Alright, we're going to go the other side this time. Zoom in, and right there. We'll put in a 1.25 offset, and we'll do the same thing with this guy. Okay, so now we have the cams positioned on the shaft. We have the followers, they're free to move up and down, and all we have left to do is place this handle, or this little handle, into the crank arm, and then the crank arm onto the shaft. And those are simple. We're just going to use the insert tool for that. We'll choose this surface going in. It needs to stick out this way, so we'll have to choose the back one. You'll see that it's going the wrong way again, so that should stick out here. Apply, and then we'll do the insert from here to this end here. Alright, okay, so we now have our automata fully assembled. Check out the next video to figure out how to get the crank handle to turn, all the cams turning, and the followers following the cams.